Hey everybody, welcome to the round 14 player ratings video. It's really good to be able to sleep on a game, even though we played pretty early in the week, especially after a loss. Sleep on a game and watch it again, think about it, let the emotion completely subside before talking about it. I really do enjoy having a game earlier in the round as opposed to playing on a Sunday. Just seems to get all packed. But for those of you who have never watched a player ratings video, welcome. Basically what happens here is I just start the conversation around the team that played, and I give them a score between 1 and 10, 5 being a pass mark. And essentially they're not right, they're not official, and any changes that need to be made, you guys will make them in the comments below. Just let me know what should change, why it should change, and what it should change to. These videos are sponsored by Doing a Bit. Our friends at Doing a Bit. We've got a discount code. Mark has given us the hookup. So you'll see the details for that in the description below. He's given us a 20% discount code for all the activewear. He's got beanies, really comfy beanies, and a really strong message behind the company. And for those of you who watch these videos, you know what Doing a Bit is all about. It's all about getting shit done, doing something for yourself in your life, whatever that means for you. It's just about continuing to take steps forward, to become the best version of yourself. So we appreciate the support from Doing a Bit. And listen, let's get straight into it, because overall it was a disappointing night. I personally gave some extra credit to the defense, so you'll see that reflect in the scores. It was just an intuition thing. I don't want to, reward mediocrity or anything like that, but I just thought, the defense really held up in a situation where we were all worried about, we've lost quite a few of them, quite a few players down there. I thought they deserved a lot of credit, albeit in a loss. So that's probably the big takeaway from me from all of these scores. But we'll get into it as the team was named. Sam Durden, Lewis Young, Jordan Boyd. Sam Durden, okay, fascinating story. And if you think about his life in the last, let's say, 4 weeks. So he's playing in SA at the, in the SA NFL, doing really well there. All of a sudden, his life turns upside down. He packs up everything. He moves to Melbourne. He's playing for Carlton, and the second week in, he's playing in the ones against a full strength Richmond. And I think I was a little harsh on him when I was watching him at the game, and then when it wasn't until I watched the replay that I realized he was good. He was tough in the contest, spoilt well, threw his weight around and played the conditions relatively well. And I think that was probably a common theme for most of the guys in the team today that have played a lot of reserves football, probably because they've played in similar conditions on, not as good grounds as what we have at the MCG and Marvel. And it really showed. I gave him an 8, and I really just wanted to reward him for the, his situation. It's just tough for him to come in, learn the system. We know that he's, so new to it, and he, obviously would have made some mistakes around it, but credit to the backline for working with him. I gave him an 8. Really disappointing to see he got injured again. It's fascinating what's going on with this injury situation in the backline now. It's become a real theme. We just seem to be getting more and more unlucky, and for whatever it is, there's something that's testing us, and this is what it is, and we have to find a solution for that defensive hole. If it's Kemp, if it's, I don't know, get creative and put Jack Silvani there. I'm not sure, but we'll talk about it. So I gave Durds an 8. Lewis Young, I thought he was outstanding again. And, again, talking about the situation with him, Wiedering's out. He really needs to step up and take flight of that back line. I thought he did a really good job given, in my opinion, his midfielders, letting him down and allowing the ball to come in as much as it did. So I gave him an 8 as well. Thought he was really good. Jordan Boyd, hello. I gave him a 9. I thought he was great. I thought he was outstanding. Maybe even one of our best players on the night. Defended well. Provided an option offensively, which was really good. He had the 16 touches. I don't really watch him expecting him to get a lot of the ball. I watch him thinking he's got a defensive first role and he's got a lockdown on whoever he's playing on. And I thought he did that exceptionally well and really provided the right option for the majority of the night. His efficiency was really high in a game where it was really wet. So I gave him a 9, and I've really taken a liking to him. I wasn't sure where he fit in the system. It was pretty clear early in the preseason that the coaches loved him and what he brought. And I obviously hadn't seen that because I wasn't at training and wasn't really watching him. But I can definitely see what they see. I mean, he's really competitive and he's hungry and he plays the way that we need that position to be played. And really, you can see why he got the position over Liam Stocker. So really, really well done for him. Nick Newman, I gave him an 8. I think he continues to provide great leadership for us. He went at 90% on the night, which again, difficult conditions. Not many people use the ball well, but I thought he was really good. 8 marks, 20 touches. Maybe 8's a little low, but my intuition said that. But I'm loving his season overall. I think he's really stepped up, as I said last week, in the absence of Zach Williams, and really continues to provide exactly what we need, and thought he impacted the contest well. And I thought he was one of our better players. Next is Adam Sard. Crazy, scary moment in the first where he got the poke in the eye from Tom Lynch. And if you see the still photo, it really is scary, because that is really maybe a couple of millimeters away from being a really bad injury. And it's fascinating because that poke in the eye wasn't touched in the face, but seemed like other things in the game were touched. But no, look, I gave him a 9. I think given what happened early in the game and the way he was able to battle through, give us 25 touches, use the ball well again, and I think he's having the best season of his career. And I'm just really, really, just happy for him and happy for the way he's going about it, playing within the confines of the team, and he's really starting to find his groove. I think we're really starting to see the very best of Adam Sard at Carlton, and obviously his career. And so, he's really settled into the club, and it's good to see. Doc, I thought Doc was the best player for us on the night. I gave him a 9. He gave us, 31 touches, went back with the flight of the ball late in the game, which I thought was just heroic, and continued to do it. And for all the injuries that we do have, and some of them are really shocking, obviously Caleb Marchbank last week, Sam Durden goes down again. You just look at Sam Doherty and it puts everything into perspective, So that's the shining light on our situation. Like, yes, it's tough and life is tough and it throws challenges at you, but when you got a guy like Sam Doherty playing, with the endeavour that he is, it just puts everything into perspective, and I'm just so happy for him. I wanted to give him a 10, but I have a general rule that you don't give 10s out in losses. I really give weight to that. So I gave him a 9, and I thought he was one of our best players on the night. Also, 748 metres gained. So really understood the assignment of the conditions and got the ball moving forward and played the territory game. Next was the centre line, so Cottrell, Cripps and Nunes. Cottrell, I thought he was outstanding. That's 2 really solid games in a row. And similar to my comments earlier about guys that have played in reserves football on, in not so great conditions and understanding what is required, I thought Cottrell did that really well. He runs so hard. He really runs so hard. I was up on level 2 for the majority of this game, so I got to see his work, and I think he and Jack Nunes on either wing with Lockie O'Brien in there really provided a solid option for us. Obviously take a little bit off because, the midfield really hurt us on the night, but look, I thought Cottrell was great, so I gave him an 8 for his game. Cripps in his 150th, obviously, nothing but love for Cripper. Had the 34 touches, the 5 tackles, had the 10 clangers, which, it was a dirty game. Offensively, he was there. Maybe not as impactful as what we know he can be. Definitely played to his strengths with the handball game, which I love to see. I'm not really agreeing with any of the criticism of him over handballing. Maybe in the sense of we overuse the handball early, so definitely there. But I like it when he's handballing because for me, it generally means that he's getting other people in better situations. So I gave him a 7 for his game. I gave our midfield, for the majority of it, a little bit of a point deduction because I thought the intensity on the defensive side wasn't there enough as what it has been all year, or the majority of the year, and then B, for what our defenders needed. We knew we were up against it in the back line, and we needed our midfield to step up. So I think overall, probably were let down a little bit by the midfield. So I gave Cripper a 7. That might be a little bit low, but again, you can change that in the comments below. Nunes, loved his game. 20 touches, 2 behinds, he did blow the roof off the place, and then it was taken away from us. But he just played the conditions well. He played smarter football than I think most. Really tough in the contest, as he always is. Runs hard, works hard, plays the game with the endeavour in which I love to see. And I really thought he impacted the game to a level where I gave him an 8. I really liked his game. Half forward line, Durden, Fisher and Owies. Durds, I gave him a 4 for his game. I think we lost a little bit for the most part in this forward line. I understand that the midfield probably didn't get it in a way that we wanted to, but yeah, I think he and Owies, usually it's one of them that has the game. I think both of them just struggled, and look, it's just one of those games. It didn't happen. So I gave Durds a 4. Fish, I gave him a 6. He won the ball, had the 18 touches. I was looking at this game as a potential for him to really help us with the Chera hole that we had there. Won a lot of the ball, or enough of the ball. I didn't feel like he was as impactful as what he could have been. Certainly tried hard. I think he definitely, got the pass mark and a little bit more. So I gave him a 6. Owies, I also gave him a 4. We just didn't get, what we have come accustomed to getting from him and Durds. And I just think it's one of those, low points in the roller coaster of a season where it works sometimes, it doesn't work others. But I do expect them to both bounce back, especially under the roof at Marvel next week. So but for this game, I felt like a 4 was necessary. Then we've got Charlie, Harry, and Jack Silvani. Charlie sort of struggled a little bit, provided a contest. I understand, the conditions didn't help. I think he lifted a little bit in the fourth. I know he lifted in the fourth, but just didn't quite get what we needed from him to win the game, unfortunately. So I gave him a 6 for his game. Harry, I gave him an 8 for his game. And to be honest, it was probably sitting at around a 4 or a 5 up until three-quarter time. But the way he lifted was really scary. And it reminds us the individuals that we do have in this team and what they can do. That 5-minute patch in the fourth quarter, he's put the game right back into it. It was all but done, and he just lifted, and I love to see it. So I gave him an 8 for his game. Maybe that's a little high. I think I'm going to go with 7. Yeah, I'm going to go with 7. So Harry will do that. Jack Silvani, I gave him an 8. I thought he really lifted after halftime, especially provided a better marking target. Had Flostone on him, who is an exceptional player and an exceptional defender. And I really thought Jack gave us enough and just gave us what he always does. He plays with that spirit that we love. So I gave him an 8 for his game. Next, we've got De Koning, Walsh, and Hewitt. De Koning, I thought early in the game, particularly, we'll probably just say the first half, it was just not looking good. But what I love about Tom is no matter how much he is being beaten, and he's shown this throughout his career, he digs in and he finds a way, and he just continues to chip away. And I understand it's tough for him. This is a point in his career where I think we'll look back and we'll say he just was not ready to dominate games yet. I really do believe in him and his endeavour and the way he goes about it. I gave him a 6 for his game because I really did believe that in the second half he lifted, and I kind of just wanted to reward that. And wasn't his best game, but definitely wasn't his worst game. So we've just got to find a way to just, reduce the gap between when he gets beaten and how long he gets beaten for. And hopefully next week with a really tough assignment, Sean Darcy back playing against us. And I really hope that he can lift for that game and really help us, because we need to get first use out of the middle more than what we have been over the last month. And I'm sure he knows that. I'm sure everyone knows that, but we just need it to happen now. So I gave him a 6. Walsh, similar to Cripps, thought he was great. I thought they were both great on the night. However, the defensive aspect of the game, I think, hurt us. Walsh has had the 34 touches. He always gets a lot of the ball. He always runs harder than most, if not anyone else on the field. So the work rate is always there. I gave him a 7. I just think, like I said, the midfield let us down, and I think he was just a part of that. George Hewitt, I gave him a 7. Had the 25 touches, laid the 3 tackles. Probably a little low on what we've come to see from him this season. I'm used to seeing 7 or 8 tackles next to his name, and we just need more in that area from the midfield as a whole. So they all sort of got given a very similar rating from me. And again, you chat about it in the comments, but I gave Georgie a 7. The bench, Lockie O'Brien, Kennedy Plowman, and Jack Martin. Lockie O'Brien, I gave him a 7. I mean, he's winning a lot more of the ball consistently, especially over the last 3 to 4 weeks. The other side of the game, the tackle pressure, again, didn't lay a tackle for the game. I understand that's not his one wood, as some may say, but we do need him to be a factor in the contest, I think, moving forward, particularly when in a wet game like that where it's just scrappy. But if you watch the fourth quarter, his inside 50 entries are they're beautiful. The first one for Harry's first goal in the fourth, if you go back and look at it, just a peach of a kick. And ultimately, that's what we're trying to do, I guess. Play to his strengths, and his strengths, or his main strength is his kicking, which we all know. So yeah, I think he's working harder. He kicked a goal as well, nearly kicked that second one. I gave him a 7, and I think he's really coming on nicely. So I'm pretty buoyed by how he's going. I just think we need to keep chipping away, and he needs to just continue to get better, which I'm getting more and more confident that he will. I think he's really found his place. I think he's found his situation, and it's really pleasing to see for him. So well done, Kennedy. I gave him a 6. Really fascinating to see. He did not lay a tackle on the night. He lifted in the second half with a lot of others, but unfortunately just didn't have the impact that we've come to see Matt Kennedy having. The first couple of months of the season, he's really been a revelation for us in many ways, and some are saying that he might be the most improved player for us for the season. But I just didn't feel like he got that done on the night. So I gave him a 6. I think I'm going to make that a 5. Give him just a bare pass mark. Plowman, I gave him a 6. Maybe that's a little low. Maybe that's a 7. Part of that defense that was just under siege, but I thought he defended really well. Made a few critical errors in that fourth, which probably stick in my mind a little bit, and maybe I'm being a little harsh, but yeah, just a few fumbly little errors that cost us a little bit. But I'm not pinning the loss on one player by any means, and yeah, my intuition said it was a 6. And then Jack Martin, I gave him a 4 as well. Unfortunately, we're just not able to see Jack's best. Patchy, just a really standard game from Jack Martin. Like when he does something, just looks so good. But unfortunately, he just wasn't able to impact. It is a hard position to play, but he is in the position that he is in his career, given the investment that's been made into him, because I feel like he's able to create that for himself. And there's an interesting conversation because I think in the third quarter he was put behind the ball. He was either put behind the ball or he just happened to be behind the ball in this particular patch of game. And I kind of like the idea of putting him behind the ball because I know he can use the ball well. Is it a situation where we want to get the ball in his hands a bit more and therefore bring the game to him? I'm just mindful of the fact that you're turning him into a halfback flanker. We've got plenty of those running around. So I don't know. I leave games, and I say this more weeks than not, but I leave games where Jack Martin has played saying to myself, I want more from him because I know he's got more to offer. So I understand it's tough, but unfortunately I just felt like he didn't get it done on the night. He also was off late in the game with the calf tightness, so that's another element to the picture as well. His body's just struggling, and it really has been struggling for a while. So we'll see what happens there. Fogarty, I'm probably not going to give him a rating. He came on, I really don't have anything to say about him. He came on very late in the game, and nothing really to add about that. But look, overall, I don't know. I'm looking at the scores now, and I'm thinking, have I been a little bit too nice, or have I been a little bit? I don't know, maybe some of these scores need to be a bit lower. I don't know. You chat about it in the comments. It was a disappointing night, but we need to move on because there's an important match next week. And you see the other teams around us as well. Like there are losses that happen with other teams, and other teams seem to be going through the lull of the season. This is where we're at. We're well and truly past the honeymoon phase of the season. It's now starting to become a real grind. We're in this real interesting patch. Finals is still quite far away, and so you don't see it as close as what it's going to be. And so this is the time I feel in the season where, slip-ups can happen. So we've just got to make sure we respond, get back onto it, get back on the winners list and go from there. Share with me your comments, please. Share with me what you think about the ratings and make some adjustments in there if you feel like they need to be changed. I will change them based on your argument in the comments below and what you believe. And if you can put a good argument and a good case to make a score change, I'll definitely do that. And we'll do this all again next week. Have a good one and go the Mighty Blues.